Hello chaps, and welcome to my build update number 3 for the Revell 148 scale Dornier Do 217E-4 bomber. In update number 2 we left off priming and pre-shading the model and all the peripheral parts ready for painting. So that's where we're starting off with the underside. I mixed some black and white, made a dark grey. I didn't want to start black colour. Sprayed the underside and the peripheral parts, then added some white to tone it down, did some highlights, and then sealed it all in with a gloss clear coat. Then it was onto the upper side, so I masked to prepare it ready for the RLM 70 Schwarzgrün. Airbrushed that on to the upper sides with the propellers as well. Clear coated it and removed the masking tape, allowed that to dry, then applied masking tape on top of that to prepare it for the RLM 71 Dunkelgrün. I airbrushed that in place, added some white to tone it down, and did some highlights. Removed the masking, gave it a clear coat, and took a few pictures. So masking's been removed from the engines as well. Then I flipped it over, removed the masking from the wheelbase, the main wheelbase, and the rear wheelbase. So now she was ready for applying decals. So I got the decals together and the instruction booklet telling me where to locate everything, and then started off on the underside. And as you can see, the location of those decals fell with the pylons. And looking at the instruction booklet, there's no note there warning you to leave off those pylons until you've done those decals. So I had to cut those decals, put them in place, the two halves, and flap it up the sides of the pylon, let that set, then trimmed it back with a knife. And after that it was on to the upper side decals, and then the fuselage and vertical stabilizer decals for both sides, and then the front nose end decals. And then after the decals were applied, I then masked all the underside because I wanted to mute the two top colours together instead of having a stark contrast. So mixing the two upper colours, just a couple of drops of each with 80% thinner, I did a fine misting just to blend those colours together, act like a filter. And then after that I primed all the peripheral parts, undercarriage parts, and then detail painted them. I then painted the tyres with a sort of dark grey colour, and then the wheel hubs with the black. I then painted the exhaust, 3 on each engine, and then gave everything a gloss clear coat to seal the decals in, seal that paintwork in, and it was on with the weathering. So first I mixed a clay wash with white and a bit of black, and then painted that onto the undersides and onto all the peripheral parts, allowed it to dry for an hour, and then rubbed it off, leaving on an amount that I like the look of. And as you can see, the underside panel lines are all highlighted with that wash, and there are all the peripheral parts with the wash rubbed off, leaving some of it on there to highlight. I then used that clay wash and did some tonal variations on the upper side, and then followed that with a pin wash, using a black oil paint thinned down with spirits, and then used that wash on the peripheral parts, and then followed that with chipping to the leading edge around the engine, and then to the inside of the undercarriage wheel bay doors and the outside of those wheel bay doors as well. And then did chipping to the spinners and the propellers, and that was followed by some chipping to the drop tanks. And after I did those, I then applied some chipping to all the undercarriage parts. I then did some chipping on the top side where the mechanics and engineers walk. I then mixed a reddish brown acrylic wash, did some tonal variations with that, and then put it in the panel lines as well. and did it on the top side too, and did it all over the aircraft. And after the model was finished, I did use that same wash for the peripheral parts on the propellers, just to give some tonal variations, and applied it to the inside and outside of the undercarriage bay doors and the drop tanks. I then mixed some Viridian green oil paint, phthalo blue and white, and did some tonal variations on the top side, and that was all sealed in with a flat clear coat, and so was the underside, all sealed in. And then that was followed by sealing in everything on the peripheral parts. So with everything sealed in, next thing to do was remove the masking tape from all the canopy greenhouse parts. And that's the underside canopy demasked. And then after that I applied some mud splatter on the upside where the engineers walk, putting some mud staining on there, and then used the same mud wash to apply mud splatter around the wheel bay areas, the front main ones and then the rear one there. And I also used that Vallejo splash mud acrylic wash to the wheels themselves. I then applied the smoke from the exhaust, mixing some dark tan and black, and thinned it down with 80% thinners. That was the top side, and they're the side exhausts. And that would also affect part of the upside of the wheel bay doors, so I applied it to that as well. I then applied lead deposits to those exhaust stains using some XF55 deck tan, thinned down. I then did the oil streaks and fuel streaks, and after that it was on to assembly, final assembly. There's the rear wheel assembled. I then did the two main wheel assemblies, and then fitted the rear wheel bay doors, followed by the main undercarriage wheel bay doors. After fitting those, I fitted the two drop tanks, and that was followed by fitting the two propellers and the spinners, and they spin around, they work nicely. And then it was on to fitting those machine guns that I'd chopped off. Started off with the assembly for the upper gun turret. I then fitted that in place along with those two side rear facing guns. I then fitted the front gun, followed by the underside rear facing machine gun, and that was followed by the pitot tube and the clear lens for the landing light, navigation light, and that was followed by the rear facing UHF antenna, and then the upper aerial mast. And the last thing to do was fit the fine easy line antenna cables. And that's it, guys, everything's done for this build, so she's ready to show off in the final reveal, which will be coming shortly, a few days time. So thanks for watching, guys, thanks for following this build along, and thanks for all the comments. Talio chocks away.